Now, it's actually jammed the 4 Juniper of Sarah. The best normal alternate there is Camino Capistrano, but that is also extremely heavy through the area. In Claremont, the fatal crash investigation continues on the westbound side of the C10. The crash is just before Town Avenue. There's a diverging walk now at Baseline Road. That's just before Mountain Avenue because of that. You can use Baseline or the 10 west to get around it. And in Beverly Hills, the Olympic Boulevard, both directions shut down between South Spalding Avenue and Century Park East. East is flooded. Use Santa Monica Boulevard or Pico instead. Kfi in the sky helps us get faster. I'm Officer Bucky. Cooler weather's here. Prescription products require online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40. But the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packages.
Hims took care of it. Fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever. Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/join to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Southland weather from KFI. It's going to be sunny this afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s at the beaches, low to upper 70s in Metro LA and OC, mid-70s to mid-80s in the inland valleys, and low to upper 80s in the Inland Empire. Right now it's 61 degrees in San Clemente, 57 in Hacienda Heights, 55 in Sherman Oaks, and 55 in Pasadena. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Brian.
You for Coke.
Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my mom and pa, not the way that I do love you. Well, holy moly, me oh my, you're the apple of my eye. Oh, I've never loved one like you. Oh man, you're my best friend, screaming through the nothingness. There ain't nothing that I need. Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, take some nights. There ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
KFI, AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You are listening to Home. Sam, I really like this cover. I actually love the female covers of our theme song. Let's play this one more often. Excellent choice, my friend. I am Gene Sharp, the House Whisperer, custom home builder, custom home designer, lover of all things female. It's true. I don't know. Oh, no, you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about the fact that, talking about architectural tidbits from our time in Chicago, right, babe? It just so happens that my two favorite, I think you're right there, right? Our two favorite skyscrapers in Chicago are designed by women. In fact, one is the tallest building in the world ever designed by a woman, and they're actually designed by the same woman.
It is the same woman.
Right? Anyway, the St. Regis, by the way, if you get tired of modern skyscrapers can get, in my opinion, kind of boring. They're just like huge penises sticking up in the air. Sorry, it's just, let's...
You could just say boxes.
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 Okay, fine. But in Chicago, the Aqua, which is just a brilliant design for the outside, this organic balcony shape on the outside of this building, and what is now the St. Regis. I guess they named it after the hotel that is at the base of this building. Tall, thin, elegant, beautiful. It has hips and curves to it. I mean, it is a brilliantly beautiful three-tower kind of building. Anyway, I know. I'm just nerding out on Chicago architecture.
but yeah, designed by a woman, and you can tell. You can tell. It just has if a skyscraper can have a feminine energy to it, this one has achieved, and in my opinion, probably all skyscrapers should have far more feminine, uh, girl power behind them. All right. It's an all-calls weekend here. We should get back to the phones so that I can keep my promise to answer as many questions as possible. The number to reach me, 833-2-ASK-DEAN, 833, the number 2, Ask Dean, anything you want to talk about regarding your home today. Let's talk to Dan. Dan, welcome home.
Good morning, Dean. You caught me in the middle of my morning routine, which is fortuitous. I have a pair of high-velocity pedestal fans. I place one by the window. I place the other one on the end of the hallway. And I love pulling in this morning fresh air. Now, I've looked into a whole house fan, but the power that I've experienced with them before leaves me wondering if that is my best solution. What would you think?
Okay, I got you. Really good question. And basically, you're essentially kind of doing the whole house fan concept with the house, and it's a brilliant thing. When we use the whole house fan, or we do what Dan is doing with his box fans now, what we're doing is we're charging the house for the day by drawing in cool overnight air into the home, and then at some point Dan's going to turn off those fans. He's going to shut the doors and the windows and let that cool air just kind of charge and sit in the house as long as possible, like as if your home was a cooler, like a thermos cooler, and you're filling it up with ice at the beginning of the day, and you're letting it ride as long as possible. It's going to cut down on heating and air conditioning, plus, you get all that gorgeous morning and overnight air. So, good on you for doing that, Dan. It's a great idea, and it saves tons of energy. Whole house fans are designed for that exact purpose. And a lot of people confuse them with attic fans because they are in the attic. An attic fan is about blowing hot air out of your attic. It's interacting with attic air. A whole house fan, even though it's up in the attic, is actually only interacting with interior air in the house. So the key is this. A whole house fan, if properly designed, this gets to the heart of your question, Dan. A whole house fan, if properly designed for the right amount of power, needs to be powerful enough to exchange all of the air in your home, all of the air, 3 to 6 times per hour, okay? Here, I'm going to do a little math here, and I don't want to lose anybody, so just hang with me on the concept. So the idea is exchanging all the air in your house 3 to 6 times per hour. So the first thing you got to do is figure out how much air is in your house. If you've got a bunch of vaulted ceilings, this gets a little bit more complex, but let's just take a simple example, 2,000 square foot house. 2,000 square foot house with kind of standard 8-foot ceilings. We got to find out how many cubic feet of air rests in your home. So you take your floor plan, 2,000 square feet. That's already 2 of the dimensions. That's 2,000 square feet. To make that cubic, we got to go up now. So we take 2,000 and we multiply it times the height of your ceiling. So 2,000 times 8, what is that? 16,000 cubic feet. That's what you got in your house, roughly speaking. 16,000 cubic feet of air. Now, we need to exchange that air 3 to 6 times. Let's just go with the 3 on the low end. 3 times we're going to exchange that air. So 16,000 cubic feet times 3, 48,000. 48,000 cubic feet of air. This is what this fan needs to move per hour. But, last little tricky thing, fans are not rated on cubic feet per hour. They're rated on cubic feet per minute. So we have to take our big number now. What was it? Okay, 2,000 square feet times an 8-foot ceiling, 16,000 times 3, 48,000 cubic feet divided by, that's per hour, so we divide by 60, because 60 minutes, right? So what do we end up with? A 2,000 square foot home with an 8-foot ceiling, to change out the air 3 times needs an 800 CFM fan, cubic feet per minute, 800 CFM. That's 3 times. If you're going to go up to 6 times per minute, then you got to go up above 800. So your baseline for an 800 square foot house, or for a 2,000 square foot house, would be an 800 CFM fan. If you centrally locate a whole house fan in like the central hallway of a 2,000 square foot house with an 8-foot ceiling, and if it's an 800 CFM fan, it is going to serve you well. And if you go for the 6 times, it's going to serve you incredibly well. So you're right, Dan. It's all about the power of the pull. It'll do a lot more than the fans that you've got set up, but it has to be sized properly. 800 CFM for that size house. But the key for everybody, 3 to 6 complete air changes per hour for a whole house fan to be worth the effort. And by the way, they're not that expensive to put in, so they would absolutely always be worth the money. But not worth the money if you just undersize them. So just make sure they're sized right. 3 to 6 times of air change per hour. All right, I got more pearls for you. We are doing an all-calls weekend. The number to reach me, 833-2-ASK-DEAN. 833, the number 2, Ask Dean. You are listening to Home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Brian Baruman has been.
The Biden administration says it plans to send many Haitian immigrants gathered under a bridge in Texas back to Haiti. An FDA advisory panel has limited the recommendation for COVID booster shots to only people who are 65 or older or at risk of severe disease. And a French government agency says the Notre Dame Cathedral is stable and it's ready to be rebuilt after a massive fire. We'll have a look at Trouble on the 210 next.
All right, so it's time to build that new kitchen. I am so happy for you. Here is your first move. Before you commit, before you tear out everything else, plan, plan, plan. Why? Because design matters most. And who should you go talk to about your design? You should get a free in-showroom consult with the good people at the kitchen store. You're going to get 2 things: creativity and wisdom from an expert kitchen designer, and you're going to get all the info and inspiration that you need from the kitchen store's 7,000 square foot cabinet design showroom. Believe me, they have every style of cabinet. They have every attachment, every accessory, every possible configuration that could go into your kitchen. That's what you need so you can make the right decisions for your dream kitchen. Kitchen store is right off the 405 in Culver City. For 50 years, it's been the place for kitchen cabinets in all of SoCal. State-of-the-art computer design, same as cash financing, no payments, no interest for a year, and pricing that will beat the big box center. So start your new kitchen right. Set up a free consult by dialing 310-KITCHEN. That's 310-KITCHEN, and check them out on the web at 310kitchen.com.
From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. There's a crash on the 210.
Claremont on the westbound side of the 210 just before Town Avenue with a fatal crash investigation actually that has all lanes shut down. You're jammed all the way back to Mountain Avenue. Use baseline or the 10 west instead. San Juan Capistrano, ongoing problems on the southbound side of the 5 as well before Ortega Highway. All lanes shut down here as well. Overturned big rig and a diesel spill. Been here several hours now. And you're jammed almost all the way back to Avery Parkway at this point there. Your best alternate normally would be Camino Capistrano, but that's extremely heavy as well. And Beverly Hills, we have a problem on Olympic Boulevard between South Spalding and Century Park East. There's due to flooding, all lanes closed until around 4 p.m. Use Santa Monica Boulevard or Keto. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Bucky.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo. Your life, your hope, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. It's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified. This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
Rates subject to change without notice. Minimum loan amount requirements apply. 60% loan to value and 740 FICO credit score. Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. NMLS 3290. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lenders Law license number 6036970. Equal housing lender.
Unbelievable. Home loan rates have dropped again at IntelliLoan. Today, IntelliLoan is offering a 1.875% rate in the APR with no points and no lender fees. Did you hear that? A 1.875%. Don't think you qualify? I bet you haven't called IntelliLoan. You don't have to have perfect credit to get this great home loan. So lock in this unbelievably low 1.875% fixed rate in APR with no points and no lender fees. So call IntelliLoan before the rates go up. Call them at 1-800-918-6200. That's 1-800-918-6200. Or just go to IntelliLoan.com.
IntelliLoan. Borrow smart.
If you think vaccines alone will protect you from COVID-19, think again. More breakthrough cases of COVID variants show that vaccinated people are still vulnerable to the deadly disease. To be safe, monitor regularly for fever, as it's the leading sign of COVID-19. Use Exogen, the only thermometer scientifically proven to detect fever. And beware of non-contact devices that miss 5 out of 6 fevers. Remember, vaccines are not enough, so protect yourself and your family with the Exogen Temporal Scanner. Learn more at exogen.com.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Duffy Power, they are the generator people. Ever since they've become a sponsor here of our show, and I love them, and I love that they're here with us, we've been getting a lot of questions about how home backup generators work. A home backup generator is a generator that kicks in once the power goes down. So basically, they hook you up with the perfect generator to meet all of your home's needs, including your AC if you want. Then, when the next outage occurs, everybody around you loses power, but yours automatically takes over and your life continues uninterrupted. When the power comes back on, the generator knows that too, turns itself off. It even takes care of its own maintenance throughout the weeks and months. It's really just that easy. What's also easy is 0% interest financing, payments as low as $72 a month, which makes emergency power for an entire home totally affordable. Now, the pandemic, everything is in short supply, right? So don't wait. Call Duffy today. Make sure your life, your comfort, your safety won't be interrupted during the next outage or any of the ones after that. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say Duffy Power. Pound 250, Duffy Power, or find Duffy on the web at duffypower.com. That's DUTHIE power.com.
Angie's List is now Angie, and caring for your home just got easier. Whether you need help with routine maintenance or a dream remodel, Angie makes it easy to see reviews, compare quotes, and connect with top local pros who can get the job done right. Plus, you can see upfront pricing and instantly book hundreds of projects. No phone tag, just the work you need done at a time that works for you. Angie's got your to-do list covered from start to finish. Book your next home project today at Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Rick Edelman, award-winning radio host and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his radio show. Let's hear his advice on annuities.
Hey, Rick, I'm looking for a good investment. Should I consider a fixed annuity?
Well, fixed annuities aren't really investments. They're insurance products. You'll get a fixed rate of return from them, but it might not be enough to offset taxes and inflation. Most annuity contracts require you to keep the money there for 5 to 10 years. And if you're under age 59 and a half, any withdrawals are subject to a 10% IRS penalty. You should talk, therefore, to a fee-based financial advisor to see if an annuity is right for you, not someone who makes a living earning commissions selling annuities. You want a fiduciary who puts your best interests first.
If you're looking for a trusted partner who's got your back, talk to one of our experienced financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK. Or visit rickedelman.com.
There you go. Mimosas are finally on the menu at IHOP.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a mimosa girl?
The bottomless mimosa brunch. My favorite. The bottomless
Oftentimes.
part's key, right? Bottomless
Yeah,
is key.
it's usually with crap champagne at that point, but what does it matter? The Fork Report with Neil Saavedra this afternoon at 2 on KFI AM 640.
More stimulating time.
Even though all the lights
KFI, Team Sharp, the House Whisperer at your service. Hey, thanks for joining us on our fine program here this misty Saturday morning. At least it's misty where we're at. Loving it. Loving it. Tina's got this huge smile on her face. This is her kind of morning weather. I am so glad you have joined us this morning. We're doing an all-calls weekend, so you are deciding what the show is about today. The number to reach me at, 833-2-ASK-DEAN, 833, the number 2-ASK-DEAN. Give me a call, ask your question, and let me take a crack at helping you out with your house. Let's talk to Sally. Hey, Sally, welcome home.
Okay, I've been planning on building a pool at my home. I have 2 areas of the yard that I could build it in. One of the 2 I'm going to do. But I started looking at a YouTube about 9 years ago, and there were like 2 people that showed how to do it. Now there's 200. And do you know anything about, is this a bad idea to try to do it yourself? And what I'm thinking is maybe there's some software and plans that you can buy, step by step. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. Okay, so Sally, good on you for wanting to do your own pool, first of all. And let me just be, okay, I'm just going to be very, very forthright and honest. Anybody can do anything that they want to spend enough time and energy learning how to do, all right? So can you build your own in-ground pool? Yes, you can. Would the city allow you to build your own in-ground pool? Yes, they would. They actually would. You could be the general contractor for your own in-ground pool. But it's not as easy as, looking at a YouTube video. And especially in the state of California. Now, I'm not talking about the state of California like, oh, those guys and those regulations. No, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is something we just experienced 2 things in the last, 2 or 3 days here. One of them we missed. The other has happened this morning, right? Earthquakes. We have seismic issues here in Southern California.
Right.
So because of that, not a lot of people know this. Swimming pool, do you have a swimming pool in your yard? That is the strongest, most over-engineered piece of concrete on your entire property. It is, no, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is a pool shell, a concrete pool shell, is vastly stronger than the slab that your house is sitting on. And it's that way for a reason. For 2 reasons. 1, because the ground shifts, and number 2, because water is incredibly heavy. It's a heavy substance. A pint's a pound the world around. A pint of water weighs about 1 pound, okay? So we're talking about 4 pounds per gallon and a 40,000 gallon pool. So, all right, so you get the picture.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, there's just a lot going on with a pool, all right? Engineering is a must. So now, when I say that you could do this, you could be your own general. Yes, there are standard plans out there. Yes, standard plans that would be approved, okay? 2, you can hire the people to do this. There's going to be a tremendous amount of proper excavation that has to take place, properly excavated, and excavating a pool is an art form unto itself. Then a lot of steel, a lot of reinforcing steel. It'll have to be run properly, supported properly, tied properly. It is a mess. I mean, it is a lot of stuff. And then the gunite or the shotcrete, that is a whole process. That's not, we're not talking about mixing wheelbarrows full of cement. In fact, you're not allowed to do that, okay? And you can't pour standard cement in there. It has to be shot onto the walls of that hole with an aerosol process. That's why it's what we call it shotcrete or gunite, depending on the process. Anywho, and then and above and beyond all that, there's the plastering, the tile, the equipment design, the filtration system, and so on. So, I get it. I totally get it. If you are wanting an in-ground pool, be as involved as you can be, and carefully work hand in hand with planning, engineering, the people who are actually going to build the shell, and so on. If you're really looking to DIY a pool, though, okay, there is a way to do this. It may not be what you wanted. But if you're really looking to DIY a pool, then think about an above-ground pool, okay? You can buy an above-ground pool, right? And they're like, oh my God, Dean, what are you telling her about an above-ground? But yeah, buy an above-ground pool, a really, really good one, okay? A really good quality above-ground pool. One that's going to last the test of time. It's going to be way less expensive. And then, this is what you do. You treat that above-ground pool as if you were buying a fiberglass or resin-based spa or hot tub. You're going to set a location for the above-ground pool, and now you don't have any of the geosoils issues to deal with, and the excavating and all of that, because the pool is designed to support itself. And then you build decking out around the pool, a beautiful deck, which is all on you. You can build, and we have in the past for clients, done decks around above-ground pools that by the time we are done, good luck trying to figure out whether that was meant to be there, built into the ground, or if it's just a beautiful aesthetic piece of outdoor architecture. When it comes to the above-ground pool, it will then become all about the decking that you run around it, because it doesn't just have to be, this plastic play pool with the aluminum walls sitting in the backyard. You can surround that and essentially cover almost all of it with beautiful decking. That's how I would recommend to somebody who wants to DIY a pool in California. Don't DIY an in-ground pool. Sally, thank you for your question. I love the questions. We're getting some really, really interesting questions this morning. Good luck on that, Sally. I know you're going to do it well because you sound like you are all in. You are home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. More of your calls up next. Brian Baruman has the news.
Orange County has reported the black community was the most targeted group for hate crimes last year. OC Human Relations Hate Crime Prevention Coordinator Nee Wynn says hate incidents directed at the Asian community had an 1,800% increase.
It's important to note that these numbers reflect the incidents that have been reported in the county, but for every case that is reported, there are many incidents in our communities that remain unreported.
Wynn says 68% of hate crimes were directed at a victim's race, 21% for religious intolerance, and 11% were motivated by bigotry towards sexual orientation. Some businesses in LA County have a little less than a month to get ready to start checking to see if customers and employees are at least partially vaccinated against COVID-19. Health Director Barbara Ferrer says the county will work with local businesses to get ready for the mandate.
We'll be preparing toolkits that all these businesses can use to confirm vaccination and provide education and support to any establishments that are requesting assistance with their efforts.
The mandate was announced yesterday. It requires proof of vaccination for large events and indoor areas of bars and nightclubs. A former Trader Joe's employee is suing the company. Greg Crawford says he was fired after asking for a religious exemption from the COVID-19 vaccine. The lawsuit says the company allowed the exemption, but then told him he was fired over his adversarial perspective on the issue. At the time, he was a manager of the Rancho Cucamonga store, and he'd worked for Trader Joe's for more than 25 years. New figures from the HIV/AIDS Bureau show people who have AIDS are living longer than ever before. The Bureau says HIV treatments have improved so much over the past 30 years that people can now have a near-normal life expectancy. Director of the Division of Policy and Data, Antigone Dempsey, says they believe the HIV epidemic can be ended by 2030.
Folks who have HIV can have access to medical care and treatment, and we're able to provide that through the Ryan White HIV program for people who don't have insurance and who are poor.
Today is National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. There is a crash on the 5.
San Juan Capistrano on the southbound side of the 5 at Ortega Highway. It's all lanes that have been shut down here. It's an overturned big rig and a diesel spill has got you jammed all the way back to Avery Parkway. The normal best alternative there is Camino Capistrano, but that's also very heavy through the area. Claremont on the westbound side of the 210 at Town Avenue. We have a fatal crash investigation with all lanes shut down. You're jammed almost back to Mountain Avenue. Use Baseline or the 10 West instead. And downtown LA, the 101 South connector to the 110 shut down by Caltrans. They just put this in place. They had to stop all traffic on the main line momentarily, so that's causing a really heavy backup from Silver Lake Boulevard. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Rob Bucky.
This is a message for professional painters from your friends at Benjamin Moore. Thank you for listening to your customers, for paying attention to every detail, for knowing what they want, even when they might not exactly know exactly what they want. Whatever those issues are, and I know how tough and difficult they are at times, you make it happen. And for that, we thank you. Benjamin Moore wants to thank painters everywhere for putting love into your work and making homeowners happy. And whether you're a pro or a happy homeowner, everything you need for your next project is waiting for you at your local, independently owned Benjamin Moore retailer. Find the one nearest you at benjaminmoore.com. That's benjaminmoore.com. Benjamin Moore. See the love.
Southland weather from KFI. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s at the beaches, low to upper 70s in metro LA and OC, mid-70s to mid-80s in the inland valleys, and low to upper 80s in the Inland Empire. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Brian Bruman.
Last year, there was a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. A criminal could be spending your money, applying for loans in your name, damaging your credit, or even selling your personal information on the dark web. Unfortunately, you could miss certain threats to your identity by just checking bank accounts and monitoring your credit. The solution? LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. LifeLock sees certain threats you can miss if you're only monitoring your credit and alerts you if they find something that could be suspicious. Plus, if you become a victim of identity theft, a U.S.-based identity restoration specialist dedicated to your case will work to fix it from start to finish. Now, no one can prevent all ID theft or monitor every transaction at every business, but LifeLock by Norton can help protect your personal information so you can keep what's yours. Save up to 25% off your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to LifeLock.com. Use the promo code HANDLE. That's LifeLock.com. Promo code HANDLE. 25% off.
If you thought you missed the lowest mortgage rates in history, you're in luck, because they're back. Mortgage rates are near historic lows again. So if you have a mortgage, refinance it and forget it. You'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Network Capital Funding is offering a low 15-year fixed rate at 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Incredible! Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 15-year fixed rate is 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Now, second chances don't come often, and you may never see these rates again. So, refinance it and forget it. That's a 15-year fixed at 1.75%. Yes, 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Call the experts at Network Capital now. Call 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1-HIT. As in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448. NMLS ID 11712. Not licensed in all states. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the Financing Law. Number 603-787. An equal opportunity lender. Rates subject to change and may not be available at rate lock. Discount points may apply. Subject to credit approval. Call 800-500-1448 for additional cost information.
Accident, injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
KFI AM 640.
iHeart radio station.
24-hour news. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 and live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You are home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. We're having a all-calls weekend here, which means you set the agenda. You tell me what we're talking about today by giving us a call and asking me a question about your home, whether it is a construction issue, DIY concern, a design question, whatever it may be. I'm here to help. I really am. Oh, no, really. No, I really am. All right, back to the phone. Joe. Welcome home.
Hi, Dean. I have a Forest River Salem trailer, and I was having trouble with my heater, my furnace. Do you know maybe how I would go about fixing it, or where I could find good information about it? It blows out cold air, and when I needed the heater, I just used my propane-powered fireplace, but I'd like to be able to use the central furnace.
The central furnace.
I don't know why it's acting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not really an expert on RVs. I'm really not at all. But there are a lot of systems that are miniaturized essentially in an RV that are very similar to home systems. So I can tell you this. So if you've got you've got an RV and it's got basically a central furnace system built into it. I'm assuming that the furnace is propane driven, which is just it's a gas furnace. If you had this in your home, the bigger version is driven by natural gas, and in an RV it's driven by propane. But the way these systems work are essentially the same. The first question when it comes to a furnace not working is whether you're getting anything out of it at all. Because if you are setting the thermostat and it's just not turning on at all, and it's not blowing air, then it's likely either a power issue or an issue with the thermostat. But you say that you can get it to blow air, so the blower is working, which means there's power to the unit, and so it's not a fuse issue. It still may be a thermostat issue, a thermostat setting issue, but I tend to doubt that because if it's just cold air that it's blowing it, what it means is that the furnace element itself isn't igniting when you are set it to a certain temperature to go. So that could be actually a bunch of different things. And so my advice, it could be the thermostat, it could be a bad thermocoupler, it could be something wrong with the electronics in the circuit board. Too many things there that I wouldn't have a clue, even if I was looking at it, to be quite honest with you, because I'm not an HVAC expert in those terms. So your best call here, I'm guessing, is to call people who work on these things, whether it is, now if you know somebody who's an HVAC person, they may be actually able to test this furnace for you without taking it somewhere like Camping World or one of these places that actually repairs RVs. But my guess is you need somebody who's an RV specialist in these furnaces to check it out. And hopefully they don't just say, yeah, well, it's a bad furnace, let's just change out the whole thing. It's like, no, it's probably just a component that's glitching. But it would be the same kind of thing that would go wrong if you're having trouble with your furnace in your house. Always check to see if the blower is working first, because power is always the first concern. Is there power to the unit? Is a fuse blown? But if that's not the case, and we're getting air, but it's just cold air, that means the furnace element itself is not igniting, and that's something down in the guts and the brain of the unit that needs further attention from an expert technician. Thanks, Joe, for the question. I hope that helps at least point you in the right direction. And good luck with that. Enjoy that trailer. Stephen, welcome home.
Hello, how are you?
I am well, sir.
So a quick question for you. Bought a house last year, and the house has a tree growing inside of it. So I'm just wondering, is this something I should be concerned about, that I should maybe have removed? I'm afraid it might hurt some plumbing issues, because they have it planted in like this area of the house that there's this water feature inside the house that runs under a glass wall out to the pool. I'm just wondering if the roots could damage any pipes.
Okay. So there's a tree planted inside, so there's like an interior atrium area in the house, correct?
It's just one single tree. It's not an atrium, they're saying.
No, but I mean, there's an area that's been created specifically to have this tree growing there, or no?
Yes.
Okay. How old is the tree? How old is the house? How long has it been there? That's a really important question.
Well, the house is just a little over 11 years old, and the tree, I believe, was, put in at the same time as the house was built. Because it's still fairly small.
Still fairly small.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough
I'm
question
concerned that
answer, Steve.
it has started to crack one of my tiles on the ground, so that's what got me thinking if it's going to cause any more damage.
Yeah. Okay, so the idea is very artsy and very interesting. The idea of designing a house around a tree. Seen it, been there, been a part of that process, can be awesome. The problem with that, and it's not something to immediately say, oh, geez, this is just going to